So I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Starting with the good, we have completed the van and we are going to be doing a van tour today. Bad news is I didn't film any of the projects building it out, and this is going to be the last video for a while. I decided to finally pursue my dreams and start my own tech company, and it has completely consumed my life. Haven't shaved, haven't done my hair, the van's dirty for the van tour, and to top it off, there's like some sort of freaking cicada hatch going on. You can probably hear it in the background. So what is this and why did I get it? What I've learned in the last like 5 or 6 years building these Sprinter vans is that yes, they're incredibly comfortable and luxurious when you're traveling around in them, but for me, I can't actually really get to the places that I want to do van life in. In fact, it's kind of sad, guys. I am actually selling the big van here right now. So I started this journey by just going on Google and being like, what is the most off-road capable van in existence? And I'm pretty sure if you type that into Google right now, you'll get the same answer, the Ford E350. This one is a 2013 V10 Ford E350 with a short body. It was originally converted by Sportsmobile into this 4-wheel drive version, which gave it the big 35-inch tires, all of the armor and bumpers and stuff that you're seeing on the front and rear. It's half the size of a Sprinter van, so you'll see how compact the actual camper is. And it obviously doesn't have a tall roof so that you can fit down those crazy off-road trails. But after using this thing for the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, I have so much fun traveling around in this thing, despite it not being quite as comfortable. I think the only thing else on the exterior are the windows that I installed on the sides. And up here, I have a big ass skylight, which lets a ton of light in, and you can actually kind of stand up and look out the top here. And obviously Starlink Mini. No solar yet. That'll probably come at some point if I ever get any free time. Let's go ahead and look at the interior of the van, which is still a true 7.0 Savage build. I obsessed over every tiny little detail. I'm gonna try and articulate that as I go through this quick van tour. And I will put links to all of the products that I used in this entire van build in the video description below. This right here is the entire layout of the inside of the van. Pretty simple on the surface, but it does have a good amount of functionality. Let's start with one of the coolest things I've ever built in a van, which is this thing right here. This thing has 3 purposes. It's currently in kind of scuffed bench mode. I just have all the sheets and stuff stuffed behind this. And it turns out that in this mode actually makes a pretty comfortable little lounge situation. But the cool thing about this is it serves multiple purposes. So when I want to camp in here with Maddie, I can just slide out. I'm gonna need 2 hands for this. This is in bed mode, and we have a full 80-inch long by I think 50 something inches wide bed. It's very comfortable for 2 people. This is what it looks like with no mattresses on top. And then you can just hinge this thing up in these 3 sections to access all of the storage in this bed area. In the rear part of the bed here, I have an S-Bar S2 heater installed, which is my favorite heater. And y'all already know we installed the extendo vent. This thing was my invention. I sell them on my website, and it just twists out and lets you basically pull this thing. I set it up there when I'm sleeping at night, and it basically blows the hot air to evenly distribute it in the van. This bench bed system thingy was actually the last build video I made on this van, so you can see all the details and why it took me about 3 months to make it. I almost forgot, but one of the hardest things about designing this van layout is that no matter which mode the bed is in, everything else can be used and operates as normal. Basically, the bed doesn't inhibit the usage of any of the other stuff. Let's move on to the galley unit, storage, cooktop, kitchen thing. So at a first glance, this is a pretty simplistic little, I don't know, galley unit, but it has a lot of really cool hidden features and a couple of things that I've actually never seen anybody else do before. This one's pretty simple. It just has the drop-in cutting board, and the sink folds up like that. In the middle, we have a desk. Oh, I forgot. I have to off-roadify it. This middle part here, you just pull it out and it becomes a desk for when you're sitting on this bench, but it also flips up so that you can access this little storage cubby underneath. And then my absolute favorite part of this galley unit thing is the back part. I press this button and I fast forward a little bit. You guessed it, we got ourselves a pop-up microwave. I think microwave is the absolute best way to cook things in a van. You can pre-make meals and keep them in the fridge, or you can get frozen meals and you just pop them in there for 3 minutes. I totally understand people who like to cook when they camp, but That's just not me. I like to spend all of my time fishing and exploring and as little time in the van cooking as possible. And you might think that's ridiculously over-engineered. Why does it pop up out of the countertop and require this entire complicated electrical lift thingy? I thought about having it pop out here, but that would collide with the bed. And then I reconfigured this in my CAD software about 3 million times, and there was no more efficient way to put it together. Also, inside of this galley unit is 100% of the utilities for this van, so the entire electrical system and the entire water system. I decided to go with the Ecoflow electrical system, which I have a whole video on in the build series for this van. And my 6-month review of the Ecoflow power kit is that I freaking love it, and I will probably never go back to anything that's not this all-in-one. Just everything about it is easier than the old school kind of manual hook your batteries together version. I did have one of the inverter unit thingies go bad, but since I bought it from Campervan HQ, which I'll put my link to in the description below, they dealt with the replacement and got me a new one, and it's worked perfectly ever since. As for the water, I can actually show you guys that. So one thing I wanted with the water system in this van was it to be super easy to use, and I wanted to be able to use it in the middle of winter when it's like 0 degrees outside and you can't use the hose coming from your house. You just pop this panel off, and then you have 2 5-gallon jugs in there. You just pop this quick disconnect off, and you can lift the jugs out, fill them in your sink inside. And if I am going on a longer trip and I want more than 10 gallons of water, I can just bring extra water jugs and put them under the bed. These jugs just connect directly to the water pump, which is that second orange thing that run into this accumulator tank for a nice, smooth, even pressure. And then that comes out of the faucet. It's all completely self-contained in this little cabinet right here. So let's move to the back of the van over here. We got a couple of cool, nifty features. First things first, the toilet. Very controversial. A lot of people say you don't need a toilet in your van. I personally find it mandatory to have an actual toilet in the van, especially if you are camping with a woman, it turns out. The old pee bottle method doesn't work so well when you actually get in a relationship. And then also, like, if you got to take a number 2, you don't have to find somewhere to go do it. You got it right here in the van. I chose the Trelino toilet because it's pretty small and compact. I didn't go with my absolute favorite van toilet, which is still the separate tiny, because it doesn't fit in this van. This toilet's super simple. You just pop the lid thingy off. This is the number 2 section. This is the number 1 section. And then I did have to actually install a 12-volt fan, like custom. Without that 12-volt fan, it did smell in here. So a lot of people say this thing doesn't smell. It absolutely does if you don't have ventilation. That's my honest review. Trelino is an awesome company. I do recommend it, but they're overpriced. I just really, really wish somebody would make the combo like dry flush urine separating toilet so that there's a pee jug in the front and then a sealed, some twist off or heat sealed thing in the back for number 2s. These are just all the window covers, so I can put them up on the entire van and it blacks it out completely. They're also insulated for the winter. You guys have probably seen those. They're in every single van. This is a relatively large fridge freezer for how freaking small this van is. You can see top loader, fridge freezer, dual section temperatures. It's an Iceco something. I'll put that link in the description below, and it works great. I probably wouldn't pick anything else over this right now. I almost forgot to talk about the skylight. This thing is sick. It lets in a ton of natural light, which just feels really nice to be in here. And if you don't want it because it's causing too much glare in your van tour video, you can just shut it off. Also, you can leave it open, and there's a bug screen built into it right here, which is probably hard to see on video. All of the windows that possibly could either pop out via the twist mechanism, or these factory ones pop out like this. And when you kind of open the skylight on all those, you get a decent amount of airflow in here. Not quite as much as if you have a fan. I'm trying to figure something out for that. You already know we got the fishing rod holder up here. I am obsessed, addicted to fishing, and this thing lets me keep 2 rods mostly partially set up so that I can just get them in and out without needing to restring them and stuff. And they don't actually collide with any of the stuff in here, which is way easier said than done because everything in here moves around. Now I want to talk about some of the detailed, more construction things that I find super important and interesting about van builds, but a lot of you guys probably don't care about, so that's why it's at the end of the video here. Very first thing, the entire van is built out of 80/20 aluminum extrusions. These things are bolted to about 100 different places in the van and make it ridiculously strong. I will always and forever build vans out of 80/20. Anybody who doesn't and says their van's off-road capable is a liar. There's a whole video on how I built the 80/20 structure in this thing on the channel. I used a brand new material for 100% of the paneling in this van. It's all the exact same material. It is king starboard. So it's this 1/4 inch thick plastic stuff that like doesn't really get dirty, super easy to clean off, like 10 times more scratch resistant than plywood that's been painted. I think it's just a way better material than plywood in general for a van. It is heavier though, and it will warp if you don't put a bunch of bolts on it to stabilize it. I did the exact same method for bolting this stuff to the outside of the 80/20 beams. I just did a countersink hole and then used a countersink bolt. You can still disassemble the entire van with a single Allen wrench. Next up, we got the ceiling. This thing has been both a blessing and a curse. I think it looks really dope. I don't think there's a doper ceiling material. It's like this 1 inch thick pre-finished plywood stuff. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Fairly easy to install, but the big problem is it squeaks. It was the only thing in this whole van build that had any noise whatsoever while I was driving down the road, and it has been driving me crazy trying to figure out how to fix it. I've had to use this anti-squeak kind of foam tape stuff, which you can kind of see hanging out on a couple of the particularly squeaky boards, and that's helped quite a bit, but now I just have to go back and put that on every single tongue and groove. The lights on this van took me forever to get dialed. I have these dimmable LED color changing lights. So they only do solid colors. They don't do flashy or anything stupid like that. At nighttime, I turn them to red, and then I turn the dimness way down. You can't even see this in the daylight, but it creates a really nice, subtly lit ambiance in here. And then during the daytime, they have this bright white mode. It probably doesn't look that bright right now, but it actually does create quite a bit of light in here. By the way, there is insulation in this van. I just used 3M Thinsulate on everything. Ceiling, floor, walls. Well, actually no, floor was different. I love 3M Thinsulate. I'll probably always use it. Speaking of the floor, I did some innovation on this floor after learning from now building, I don't know, 5, 6 different van floors and failing multiple times in my last van. This is the side angle of the floor. It's very, very simple. So at the very, very bottom, you can't see it here. I used a 1/8 inch thick closed cell foam to basically insulate this and then prevent any rattling. I then just screwed the entire floor down with these screws directly into the van. There's about 50 of them. On top of this, I put 1 inch thick foam. Now, this is mandatory if you have a low roof van, guys, because what happens is you crawl around on your knees like this. And if you're an old man like me, that 1 inch padding just makes it really, really comfortable to be crawling around in here. And then temporarily on top of that, I just have this carpet stuff. I'm gonna put some Inhabit flooring on this because I love that company. But the real lesson with both the wall panels and then specifically the floor that I did very differently in this van compared to my other builds is that I did them last. It is about 10 times more work, but in my opinion, it's completely worth it. And for one reason, maintainability. If you need to run a new wire to add a new electrical device, or if you damage a wall panel or you spill a ton of water and need to go underneath and clean it up, you can simply just remove each floorboard individually. They're cut around each of the cabinets, so the floor comes out. Same thing with the wall panels. As for the front, nothing too special here. I got a couple of like hanging trash can right there, bug spray and stuff under here. This seat swivels around so that you have a nice little living area. That one does not, because it will collide with those shifters. Turns out this van came with an insane like $10,000 sound system. I love that thing. And then the front is just ridiculously simple. No technology, no screens. Turns out as I'm getting older, I'm really appreciating things that are just more simple. And I think that actually covers everything. I probably forgot about 100 things. Hopefully you guys liked it, and I'll try to answer any questions in the comment section below. I definitely miss you guys. At some point, I will be back. Hopefully I strike it rich and I can, start my own van company or something. But until then, see you next time.